the United States. Roll call. Dave Werka. Here. Thompson.
Here.
Leonard. Here. Glenn.
Here.
Here. Felton. Here. I will go into the consent agenda items, the minutes from September 7th for the city council, special city council first, plan commission on the 6th of September, recycling committee on the 28th, and committee of the whole on the 21st. Move to approve the consent agenda items. Okay, is there a second? I'll second. Thank you for the discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we're into public comments. Is there anyone that would like to speak? We are put on what day? Wednesday, next month. On 3:30. Any others from?
I'd like to remind everyone that it's ladies now tonight out in April tomorrow evening from 4 until 8. So lots of business to be open, opportunities for savings, etc. So come on down on the streets.
Any last call for public comment? All right, we'll move on to Terry from Polk County. Great, bestow your wisdom upon us.
Yes, well, it'll be a very short presentation. Thank you for just getting it pulled up here, so everyone can see I did bring on the presentation with me, but for those of you that haven't met yet, Terry Howard, I'm the executive director for the Polk County Economic Development Corporation. I collaborate a lot with my counterpart here in Amory, Paul, on initiatives, but I'm focused on the entire county, whereas Paul is focused more directly here in Amory. So you guys do support our efforts countywide as well, which I appreciate, my board appreciates as well. Just wanted to come and give you a little update of kind of where things are at, what we're working on, things that are happening throughout the county, because it does all have a trickle down effect. We all kind of impact each other. So, oh, I can do this. I was going to say you can advance it now, but you gave me the technology.
Looks like it's on. Yeah, so it's cool.
This was working during our demo.
It was working during our demo, but I will scroll down for you.
Okay, thank you. So just a little bit about our structure and our board. I don't know how well you can do that where you are, but we do have a board right now of 12. And we do have a good cross section throughout not only geography throughout the county, but also through industries that we represent. And the Polk County Economic Development Corporation is a 501c6 organization. So I'm not a county employee. I don't work for the county. I work on behalf of the county and I'm a contractor to the Polk County Economic Development Corporation. So I would like to point that out because our funding comes from municipalities like yourself. The county does fund us as well, but a lot of our funding does come from private industry that we're trying to help throughout the county as well. So. Should I try this again or do I?
You can just signal and I'll do it.
Just a little bit about, and I'm sure your interactions with Paul kind of indicate this, but economic development used to be just about really hanging out in the industrial parks and trying to attract new business into the county. Well, of course, I'm definitely not going to turn away business nor with Paul, but economic development really encompasses a lot of different aspects of things going on in the county. And this is just a non-exclusive list of all the different ones we're involved with. So everything from youth apprenticeship programs to park and trail, tourism, all of those things affect our life that we enjoy here in Polk County and the lifestyle that we have, and therefore affects our economy. And it also affects one of the biggest challenges we have right now is finding workforce to come into Polk County. So by having a good quality of life, our employers are able to attract a better class and ability to get a better workforce here as well. So it's involved that it's very good that we have a very broad spectrum in our involvement of what we're on the various communities throughout the country. So this one I'm actually going to have to look at because I can't see that from across the room. But I just wanted to give you an idea of some good good things happening throughout the county. So, in Dresser, there's a new, if you're familiar with the area, I just took over as EDC director 3 months prior to the pandemic, for those of you that don't know the history. So for the first year and a half, I was more economic survival, as Paul probably remembers, than you are economic development. So it's been nice to get engaged in the last year and a half to bring some things back that we weren't able to do due to the pandemic. One of the things that happened during the pandemic is this Sweet came in as a company out of California that bought the old F&A Dairy in Dresser. So if you're familiar with that facility, Sweet Addition is a company that makes food ingredients. It's a food additive. I can't speak to exactly what it is or how it's used, but you and I as consumers don't buy it directly. It's sold to like Dean Foods or Kraft Foods, those bigger manufacturers of the products we buy. And when they get this perfected in this new facility that they also bought the 350 acres that it enjoys. It will be the only place in the world that makes this food additive the way that they make it. And it's supposed to be cutting edge stuff. So really good opportunity for Polk County to maybe stand out in the food production industry, which is not something we have a strong stakeholder in right now. So Sweet Additions has been a really good addition to us. Equus Magnificus is a new manufacturer that we actually won their business over from Minnesota into the St. Croix Falls Industrial Park. And if you're in the equestrian industry, that name might ring a bell. They make horse trees. So a multi-million-dollar business all based on horse trees. They're actually having their open house. They're in production now. They bought a 30,000 square foot warehouse in the Upper St. Croix Falls Industrial Park and are now producing. They brought the facility over from Hugo, put in millions worth of infrastructure into the building there and are going. Quick Trip, of course, it used to be if you got a Walmart in your rural area, that was a big deal. Now they measure by how many Quick Trips do you have. So we have the new one, of course, in St. Croix Falls. You guys have had one for a while. Osceola has one. Brand new one under construction right now in Turtle Lake. So the Polk County boundary in Turtle Lake that'll be in Polk County still. But just beyond that, where the casino is there, that's where Polk County is. So we have the industrial park. The village of Turtle Lake is actually in there. Last but not least, if you haven't been over to the Balsam Lake Brewery and Market, really neat what's happening in downtown Balsam Lake. Similar to what you guys have generated here, it's just a really neat environment to come and spend Saturday. A little bit smaller there and more recreational based probably, but Balsam Lake Brewery and Market has really done a good job of bringing in the local community to help with that expansion as well. Business expansion, just PEI in St. Croix Falls Industrial Park, DH Products in Frederick, Polaris obviously in Osceola. They're constantly expanding. They still are, really behind in what they're able to produce. Infinity Retail Solutions in Turtle Lake, and then Bishop Manufacturing in Balsam Lake. And that's not an inclusive list, but those are the ones that I'm engaged with or know of in a certain degree. And it's exciting as it is to talk about new businesses and business growth. If you're a current employer in the area, and it's all, you're welcome to hop in here anywhere. If you're a current employer in the area, hearing about business expansion and workforces being stretched beyond what we currently have, that's an issue. And it's an issue we're trying to help resolve. But Polk County is positioned very well to have all this growth going on right now. So even though there is a workforce shortage, it's not just Polk County, it's everywhere. But we're still able to do expansions. People are still investing in Polk County, so that's a good thing. And then some new opportunities. Some of what Paul and I do has to be a little bit confidential in nature, so I can't talk about exactly where this is happening, but there's some really good investment coming in healthcare. And that's a big thing economically for any rural environment. Healthcare is a big thing for any employer to have, for residents to have. So the fact that we have large organizations such as Chambering here, Osceola Medical Center and St. Croix Regional to take on, that's for our rural area, that's a really nice healthcare mix for us to have. And there'll be some expansion that you'll hear about probably in the next year going on. Housing, of course, is a big issue, just like workforce. The biggest thing going on in Polk County right now is 95 units being built. It'll be the biggest housing development in Polk County. That's going into Osceola. There's some very important votes coming up there, village board this week. But where the old hospital was, back behind the main street, that is owned by a company called Dawn Companies. They're a developer out of Forest Lake, and they're coming in to do this 95 unit development, which will be, you know, amazing, not only for that area, but for the whole county as a whole, for all the employers that are looking for housing. All market rate, 39,000. So it's a much needed. So now that we're able to get out more and big on and do the things that you know that we can really try and make an impact for our economy. Some of the things that I like to call deliverables. The first one, and you can go to the next slide, is the Main Street Bounce Back Program. And all again, you know, feel free to hop in there, but I have numbers for Polk County. So the B2 Bounce Back Program is a $10,000 grant. It's actually run by the WBC. But it's a $10,000 grant for anyone taking over a vacant building or anyone buying land to run business on vacant property. So of those $10,000 grants, Polk County as a whole has had $880,000 come into this town. How much of that is anybody calling? Probably that when anybody program started at the beginning of 2021, December 31st. And one of the requirements of the application of the hospital and college letter, one organization such as the Polk County Ministry of Aid. And I did 37 letters for 29 received grants, $8,000, and 8 are still in review. And this new Main Street, the business street, the Main Street up and down, and several of them, many of them have got it's great because my experience, this job last 11 years, there are a lot of grant opportunities out there, but invariably without somebody's not able to do it because of either median income or this or that or the other. This is one that truly, and it's different for like quite an accomplishment. And Governor Evers was here last fall to visit the chief staff as well as Brunswick, the board grant recipients. And it's been a good thing for him and for yeah, and to me, it's a little misnamed because it doesn't have to be on Main Street. You know, I've written letters for people that bought vacant property off the country and started a dog kennel. You know, manufacturers too. Yeah. So the Main Street's a little misleading. It's not just Main Street, but obviously Main Street has benefit from it, and that's throughout the county. And I mean, like Milltown, for because I have a smaller area. If there's somebody, if I see somebody going into business, the next day I'm not going to go. Make sure they're aware of it. So relatively simple application. But I thought that well, it's I want these 47 pages, but it's 2 pages. It's goes through the regional planning of Claire. They're the reviewers of all the applications. I have not seen anybody push back on it. So it's been very, very popular and set any grant is coming around. Yeah, so that's one of the deliverables. Next slide, please. The other thing that is new for the EDC is that we're being much more consistent about getting out communications of what's happening in the county and making sure that that goes to the proper list of people from the county, whether it's municipalities or whether it's industry leaders or whatever, and of course outside the county. But we started a newsletter called In Focus. It comes out every other month. Part of that, if you want to subscribe to, go to the Polk County EDC site, name it, your email, you're good to go. One of the things that we do in each issue is we focus on or we feature a local manufacturer or service provider. And inevitably, people that have lived here their whole life will contact me. It's happened with every issue so far. They don't know that Bending Branches produces the, you know, world-class paddles that ship all over the world out of this little nondescript warehouse in Osceola. Or they had no idea that Oxbow makes this amazing equipment that is shipped all over the world. Which is great because it's getting that pride of ownership within our communities, but it also is getting the word outside that look at all the great jobs and opportunities that we have here in Polk County. So that's been a good deliverable that we've had. Keep going to the next one, please. Regional Business Fund, that's part of the organization that also manages the Main Street Bounce Back program. But of their more successful programs is the facade loan program. Up until this year, they only had a $30,000 cap, which is based on 2010 pricing. So Polk County and our Economic Development Corporation was pretty instrumental in having them take a look at that. And we had them double it to $60K. So now if someone in downtown Amory or downtown Milltown wants to get a facade loan to make the downtown nicer, this truly is a Main Street program. Make the facades nicer, get them more up to date. $30,000 wasn't going to get you much these days, but 60 might get you there. So we were instrumental in doing that as well. There's just some other numbers down there about the last year, how many jobs that the Regional Business Fund loan program has created in Polk County. Next slide. One of the big initiatives that we started just post-pandemic was, workforce, and every employer from small to large is dealing with workforce issues. So we wanted to, as the EDC, come up with a way to highlight what all Polk County has to offer. So we started a website that you wouldn't know is sponsored by the Economic Development Corporation, but it's called Prosper in Polk. And we also received some extra funding from the county to be able to do that site and do a social media campaign to support it. So through that social media campaign, we've done 2 different social media campaigns now. We've gotten 2.5 million views about Prosper in Polk. So that means 2.5 million people have seen an impression about Polk County. Of that, we see them go and trickle through the site, all the analytics that you can do online. The deliverable on that is we're offering a 2-night stay at the Balsam Lake Lodge. So there's 350 registers that said, hey, Polk County looks great. I'd like to work there. Of course, we exclude them based on the zip code they put in. So 350 people have registered to say, I'm interested in Polk County. We then share that list with the local employers that help us sponsor Prosper in Polk, and they can then do their own email marketing and say, hey, wow, look at Cardinal Glass and all the great jobs we've had before. Or you're interested in Polk County, come see what we have. So again, just trying to truly have deliverables that our local employers can use and we can make an impact on the local economy. So Prosper in Polk has been very good at that. And the next slide just shows the first campaign winner from Little Canada. She was actually in the healthcare industry and had vacation over here and was, really impressed with the area, and maybe someday we'll move over from Little Canada. So that'll be a great success story. One time, that's all we need. And then the next slide is just I'm not going to play this because it won't work on this setup anyhow, but it's just a quick 30-second spot that is geared off of tourism. So people looking to do tourist activities in Polk County, when they put in those keywords, they'll come up and get this 30-second little spot. It'll show them all the great tourist things, and in the end, it'll encourage them to check out Prosper in Polk. So they don't just need to be a tourist here, they can live in a great environment. So again, trying to help out with that workforce issue. Along with the workforce comes the housing, of course, and just to make you aware, I am going before the county board this 18th of this month to ask for a $1.5 million grant, a county grant, to try and incentivize senior housing in the area. There's a lot of time and effort put behind this, but in a nutshell, we're trying to incentivize senior housing because it's such a need to have senior housing. Those seniors that have housing now want to stay in Polk County but don't have a place to go to. So we're trying to incentivize seniors to come in, or senior developers to come in. That will then have the trickle-down effect of those seniors having a place to go, and those nice senior homes that have been well maintained all these years would be a great workforce house for that workforce house. So that'll be on the 18th and ties into the whole local scene. And last but not least, just kind of where we're going for this year. We're obviously going to leverage the tools that have worked for us. A lot of what we're doing is starting to reap rewards. So we have had some good success with that. As far as what we hope to do this year, our main focus is a lot. I'm sure mirrors exactly what Paul's up against here, and that's workforce, housing. And it used to be broadband, but there's a lot of broadband money out there, and I know there's still voids throughout our county, but it's really childcare is number 3. And they all work kind of hand in hand because the younger workforce has children. Children need daycare, and this is throughout. Paul and I, along with 98% of the rural EDC guys throughout the state, would all say the same thing. Those are the initiatives that we need to focus on in order to have the infrastructure to grow our local economy. So Paul, anything to add additionally?
Just real quick, got a couple, just quick workforce. I usually have manufacturing policy. I mean, the Smith Road is going in, it's been, Russell Park is there, but you know, if you have manufacturing, you can't get enough people already, so, you know, you don't need my manufacturing, which, you know, obviously it's not here. So, manpower, for staffing is critical. To that end, Terry and I collaborated on, we had a information lead on foreign recruitment. As an opportunity to bring in workers, not necessarily from the US. It is something that we're kind of talking about still. Wisconsin as a whole is facing that decade, and you know, you can run out and paper. Employers in the area, the county, have increased wages, increased benefits, anything but pennies was. So they've kind of done what they could. All our work. So if I hire somebody that's called back across the field, why all losing to that profit. And so we're trying to figure out how we can do it. And that's a the child care is it's like A1 or A2. If we have more child care, maybe workforce girls. Also and so we're trying to build that, and of course, recently the issue there about the treatment not up, certainty, those kinds of things all have to file a little bit. So we keep at it, keep talking to people, trying to sometimes knowing why they're not doing it, why we would make trying to put a lot of things to answer the question why we can't do it now. But we keep looking at it and see what we have.
So based on that, anything that the full company see, you know, Paul and I are in regular contact, so wouldn't expect you to have anything right away if necessary, but anything that you know of that we can do better to help anybody else or in any way with what Paul's had to fire, we're happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, moving on to committee appointments. So we've got several holes to fill within committees and boards. There are a couple that for sure will have holes after this discussion that I'll talk about in a second. The recycling committee has one opening, and I'd like to bring forward for appointment Chairman Paulson, recycling committee. Paul Isaacson to the Plan Commission, so the Plan Commission has an opening, and then Michaela Thompson to the golf course, and Mike Manor to the Lakes District. So those are the ones that I'd like to put forward in front of the council for consideration to fill those spots.
A motion to Sheriff Paulson.
Favor? Aye. Opposed? Great, thank you. Just one other thing as part of that, I still need somebody for the Parks and Rec. So if you're out there and want to get involved, it's an easy way to start getting involved in the workings of the city. So I would please reach out to Patty or Ben or myself, and if you'll do that. Also, we have all the person opening for the third, fourth, and fifth quarter for us to be moving things forward when we're not representing the entire city. So I really do need somebody to step forward. Again, if you're interested, reach out to the three of us, one of the three of us, and we can get that process moving. All right, moving on to one of the most celebrated things probably on the agenda tonight is the appointment of a new fire chief. So Chuck Crone has been interim fire chief for some time now. And we talked about this at the fire committee last month. And it was voted on, the recommendation, and I concur and fully support the appointment of Chuck Frome to be the new fire chief for the city of Emery and surrounding communities. So that was enough. That's something that we'll have to do first and second.
Yeah, I move that we appoint Chuck Crone as fire chief.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, I think we're gonna have the oath of office right now.
He did like the man.
You guys showed up to make sure I went through the.
Good to see the support of,
Oh, you're up. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chuck Crone, having been appointed to the office of fire chief, but have not yet entered upon the duties thereof, swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the state of Wisconsin, and will faithfully discharge the duties of office. Thank you.
the fire department will have great leaders, so thank you very much. Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item on our agenda, public works building bid. Jeff, do you want to highlight it as part of that in your packet?
Well, it's in the packet. The problem, as you know, you got the year outside right now. And that's not good, right? It's raining, but you gotta sit outside. I stored it at my own house. Right, we are. But the small project that we all heard nothing bad. Paul Walters, everything I've heard has been really good. So I think that's what it's try. I did get Walters and two other ones before, and they were the and
I make a motion that we accept the Walters bid for the public works building. $313,000.
I think it's 315,162. So there's first and a second. Yes. Hey, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So, great job.
What's generally what's the idea next spring?
I'm sure. For the next spring.
All right, next agenda item up is the ordinance 08-2022 waterways. This committee, the ordinance was changing from anything in public waterways to all waterways in the city. And that recommendation came out of committee for approval.
As forward, but we need to move to approve ordinance 08-2022.
Second. Chris.
All right, any further discussion? I just have one question. What do we do about the waterways in which are blocked right now? And I mean, how are we?
We're on the go.
But that,
I'm just gonna get the guy, he won't get right now.
okay,
Trying to there, then we can have take care of it.
okay, because spring will come with,
So we gotta get the dam over right now. Stuff, you know.
All right, so it's been, first and seconded, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Community center lease, 7.
I did meet with the community center, powers that be, and they are fine with the draft that is presented. I told them I was taking out the $25,000 contribution from the city. I said we will continue to give to them, but we wanted to see a budget of what they spend. And I have presented that to you. They're going to bring it forward to their board and then move on to approve it. But I guess for future, for budget talks, let's talk about what we want to contribute to the community center. You know, based on what their needs are.
Do we have something built in the budget already for this next year that's,
No.
No,
so we'll have to
have to
come
talk
up with
about.
a number. So are we approving this contract or are we waiting to hear back from their board whether they would accept this contract?
I think we could approve it on our end
Okay,
and then wait to see what they say on their end. It's
Okay.
kind of a negotiation.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
So what are we talking about, dollar fee rise now?
Well, currently we give them 25,000
Yes.
and that is what they would like again, but they are going to talk over with their board and see if that's
Yeah, the biggest difference is that was cooked into the lease.
exactly. And we
So
took
it
it
was
out there.
guaranteed to be there, and they're just saying, we want to
We want
have
to
some
just
flexibility and understand what needs are and how quick it is.
we just wait to hear.
No, I think what about the cemetery board? They have a request every year.
They bring it to us and we.
So what number will we put in for a budget?
That's budget talk. I don't
It's up to
know.
us.
It's up to the council.
We want
And what they present.
So that we don't want to.
It just doesn't blend it in.
This has a $1 figure, just the dollar, amount, it's all it has. It's it. We don't have any $25,000 distance. It's like we did.
No, it'll be coming for it.
That is out of this.
Yeah, so section 3 identified that we would allocate 25,000.
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm
That's
sorry.
Let's get that to one side.
I'll make a motion to approve the city center or the community center lease with a maximum $25,000 contribution. To the city.
You know,
And
I'm not sure how that works.
you know, they-
But this point, it's a budget item.
Yeah, this.
That's just the lease. There's nothing to do with any-
Budget is.
you know,
But
except that I'm proposing to put at least this year a maximum of $25,000.
It's up to
Once
us.
again, historic, huh?
I mean, yeah, no, that's up to us, it could be less.
Yeah, well, I was party to the discussion and the wars that went on to get that down to $25,000. And I'm not interested in redoing those wars, so now if it goes to more than 25, there has to be a special discussion.
Right.
et cetera. And
Well, there has to be discussion, even if it's $10. It's not, there's nothing.
So just the maximum.
So you're asking then for a modification of the lease that was in the packet. That.
I don't know.
there's nothing in
There was a section there that said that we talked about budget. It's not.
And under 19 in operations, it says the city will contribute funding each year to tenant which shall be used by tenant at tenant's discretion to meet all tenant's obligations under this agreement. I just want to put the 25 grand book in there, but, you know, we do any more,
That's the way they've been operating for 7 or 8 years anyway. So they either want to come back to the council to do that. Or
So you want to zero something 19, so say like. It's refunding not to exceed $5,000 annually.
and this is a 1-year contract.
Five.
Five.
So the way that this is written now, this offers us ultimate flexibility. We can say the revenue is 5,000.
We still can.
Yeah, right. But but I don't know that I would think we should put a maximum in that. Yes, it could potentially be a fight. I don't know. I'd rather not. Just leave it. They come to us with something else that has to be trusted. At this point, we took out the 25, just 25, so that there's no justification.
We changed the wording of A in general, that indicates a single contribute funding each year to tenant based on request or something, and take out. They can, I think it should be in there for the tenant to use at their discretion, and remove to meet all of tenant's obligations under this agreement. Yeah. So the last half of that first sentence. It shall be used by tenant at a tenant's discretion, period.
If we say to meet all, then that makes it sound like we'll just give them whatever they ask for.
Right, and I think, it, it's just written in there that it would need to be requested through, budget approval.
I agree with Rick though, that we should have a maximum amount in there. And anything over and above that would have to.
If, I think part of that, so before we release some city funds expenditure, I think this is a budget item that's being. It says the city
Right.
will contribute. It's a need.
Sure.
And it is a budget item.
This is recognition.
Well, that would remove any idea to have.
Unless they request it. Because even if they request 30,000, which we need, we're still not. Right, so you know. Wow. Well, we have a first and second motion to give them a limit of 25,000, so we'll have to address that motion first. Based on further discussion.
Okay, more of the discussion was stated that would be at least for this year, but I don't know how, this is a change to the lease. Or is this the statement that goes on top? Says it won't exceed 25.
I think it's operating under this $25,000 for 8 or 9 years. And that was pretty hard fought to change that to one, to a figure.
Because it was higher.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm not saying the $25,000 is the maximum, but maybe Sarah's got a good idea that it doesn't have to take that. Just remove Schedule A there because.
It really doesn't have anything to do with this itself. What we do that has nothing to do with this, it has to do with what they are able to do in that building.
Yeah, we do. And this first thing was drawn.
I would more than provided that we can next one.
motion to do section 19A.
Any further discussion? All right, so just to restate the motion. On the camera, otherwise, the motion was to remove section 19A from the lease. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Number 8 is approval of the lease for hangar F4. So this went to the airport commission. Last week. All right, so that did come out of the airport commission, but they recommended approval of the hangar. F4. So William. For a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we'll move into a closed session, Wisconsin State Statute 19. Police officer, LPD position, police chief, department head salaries, considering employment, promotion, compensation, performance evaluation, data, and public employee, or which the governmental body has jurisdiction and part of society. Roll call.
Yes.